Black and White Network supporters, make sure you check out the Black and White Network merchandise store. Link in the description. Use promo code USA First, all one word. USA First, all one word. 25% off now. I'm back. Rodrance for Black and White Network. We're going to talk about Bill Maher because he sparred. He went one-on-one with one of Trump's biggest haters over on Friday on Real Time with Bill Maher. Now, I've always been honest. I've always been a Bill Maher fan, even though for the most part our politics do not align. I find him funny. Well, the fact is, I find Dave Chappelle hilarious, and frankly, he says a lot of shit I don't agree with as well. But he does it funny in a way that's funny as hell. And plus, I don't think anybody should be censored. Neither does Bill Maher, to be honest with you. I've also said, look, I've watched him since his politically incorrect days. He is the first lefty I can remember that ever went after wokeness or cancel culture. Plain and simple. He's been after it for years. A lot of people believe that part is new. Now, some of the other stuff, like what we're going to talk about here, yeah, it is new. And I don't know exactly what we can take away from Bill Maher. I do believe that the progressive side of his party has sort of left him behind. The fact is, socialist Democrats hate Bill Maher now. They absolutely hate him. Every Saturday morning, he is trending on Twitter because the woke mob wants his head on a stick, Tommy Lee Jones, natural-born killer style. Anybody remember that? Well, let's get to Rob Reiner. Yeah, the director, a great director, was also meathead on All in the Family, legendary Archie Bunker, shout out, one of the greatest characters in the history of any television series. But they got into it, and they got into it over Hunter. Yeah, and the fact that Hunter did influence the election, the fact that the media chose to suppress Hunter is a major factor in this conversation. And Rob Reiner's in total denial. And Bill Maher looks at him and tells him, why don't you quit watching MSNBC all the time? Whoa. I was like, okay, interesting. We will look at that clip, too. Bill Maher leaves Rob Meathead Reiner dumbfounded with one question about media suppressing Hunter Biden's laptop story. Bill Maher exposed the political blind spot of Rob Meathead Reiner by stumping the actor with a question regarding the suppression of the Hunter Biden laptop story by the legacy media. This is the blaze. During the latest episode of Real Time with Bill Maher, the liberal host discussed whether it was merited for mainstream media outlets and social media platforms to suppress and censor the Hunter Biden laptop story. The topic was in response to Sam Harris saying the cover-up of the Hunter Biden's shady business dealings overseas was warranted because former President Donald Trump was, quote, an existential threat to our democracy. No, I mean, this is something not even Bill Maher's okay with. And he hates Donald Trump. But even he is not okay with this. Maher asked, quote, is it okay to have a conspiracy to get rid of Trump? Question mark. They were talking about Hunter Biden's laptop, which was a story, and now all the mainstream press has finally admitted it was a real story. Maher said, quote, it was a real laptop. Let's just go down. Let's listen to this before we go too much further.
So he's saying it's okay to have a conspiracy to get rid of somebody as bad as Trump. It's a little bit of a thorny question because once you go down this road, this is sort of where we are in this country. The other side is so evil, anything is justified in preventing them from taking office. Is it?
No. You know what's not justified? Using armed violence to try to kill people in the Capitol. That's not justified.
Answer this question.
Huh?
Answer this question.
What is
was
the
it
question?
The question is, was it appropriate to bury the Hunter Biden?
You're talking about the press doing that?
He's saying that's what they did, and that is what they did. They buried the Hunter Biden story before the election because they were like, we can't risk having the election thrown to Trump. We'll tell them after the election.
And we know for a fact that that's what they did?
Of course, you don't
but
follow
I mean,
this.
saying you know for a fact that that's what they did. I don't know what they did.
I know, because you only watch MSNBC.
No, that's not true. That's not true.
Well, then you would know about this.
I do know about that.
Well, you're acting like you don't.
I do know about that.
Okay, and look, Bill Maher has been very vocal about the fact that he has tried to go on Fox News. He watches Fox News. He always has. He's one of Bill O'Reilly's best friends, actually, in real life, or used to be. I don't know if he is now. And it's my understanding that Bill Maher will actually be on Tucker Carlson's show, maybe somewhat regularly here pretty soon. That's my understanding anyway. And in case you didn't catch that exactly, quote, "Now look, let's not pussyfoot around about this. He was selling influence of his father, Joe Biden," Maher stated. "I mean, most political sons do, but let's not pretend at least that was going on. So Hunter Biden's laptop was buried by the press. Quote, even the head of Twitter, Jack Dorsey, said it was a mistake," Maher continued. "So Sam Harris said it was appropriate for Twitter and the heads of big tech and the heads of journalistic organizations to feel that they were the presence of something that is once in a lifetime moral emergency, meaning Trump. So he's okay. It's okay to have a conspiracy to get rid of somebody as bad as Trump?" Maher then asked, "It's a little bit of a thorny question because you go down this road. This is sort of where we are in this country. The other side is so evil. Anything is justified in preventing them from taking office? Is it? Question mark. Reiner, a staunch Democratic activist, a leftist lunatic, progressive, socialist Democrat. There, I cleaned that up for you, the Blaze. Deflected from Maher's question with a whataboutism defense of harping on January 6th. Yeah, but let's be real here, too. January 6th had not happened at that point. Okay? There was no frame of reference. And let's be real. If the Hunter Biden thing comes out, then it's quite possible that January 6th never happens, Rob Reiner. Just saying. You know what's not justified? Using armed violence to kill people in the Capitol. That's not justified. Maher attempted to get back to the original question, asked, quote, appropriate to bury the Hunter Biden story, question mark. They buried the Hunter Biden story before the election because they were like, we can't risk the election being thrown to Trump. We'll tell them after the election. He comes back and says, do we know for a fact? Of course. You don't follow this, question mark? I don't know what they did. And that's where Maher answered, I know because you only watch MSNBC. Reiner, who continues to have an obsession with Trump. Yeah, Reiner is right up there with Bette Midler, everybody on The View, Mark Hamill, Alyssa Milano, all these people that are literally suffer from the largest case of celebrity Trump derangement syndrome we have ever seen. I mean, they are obsessed. They can't let Trump go. You know, and I guess it's good for ratings with the leftists, right? Reiner, who continues to have an obsession with Trump after the presidency, claimed he watches Fox News. Okay. He also totally befuddled at the thought that the press would suppress a story that would hurt Joe Biden during the 2020 presidential election against Trump. Senator Amy Klobuchar, Democrat Minnesota, ran cover for Reiner and said, quote, I don't know that they all said this. You have to make sure you're treating people fairly. Earlier this week, Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg admitted the social media network suppressed the Hunter Biden laptop story during an appearance with Joe Rogan on his podcast. The New York Post broke the Hunter Biden story in October 2020. Legacy media seemingly buried the story without attempting to verify the authenticity of the notorious laptop. Many outlets dismissed the story as Russian misinformation. NPR vowed not to cover the story because it was, quote, a waste of time. Twitter censored the story and locked the official account of the New York Post. That's where you want to talk about a major issue, a major drawing of the line with Twitter, blocking the New York Post. Think about that a minute. A poll released this week revealed that nearly 80% of people believe that Trump would have won the election if the Hunter Biden laptop and email story was not buried. It wasn't until March of this year when the Times and the Washington Post and other media outlets admitted Hunter Biden's abandoned laptop was in fact real. 17 months after the story broke. So, we can call it what we want, wherever, right? But the one part of quote-unquote interference, and I'm having to clean this up because of this platform, quote-unquote interference that may have happened, for sure, 2,000 mules, is the fact that this story was suppressed. I mean, come on. It was suppressed. Now, look, do I believe that progressive Democrats, socialist Democrats, people that are okay with that kind of ideology, do I think they would have been influenced to vote for Trump? No. I think it goes back to what that guy just said. The other guy that said, look, we had to suppress it because we couldn't risk Trump being elected. I think they're fine with that. I think they're fine. Whatever would have kept Donald out of the office. But independents and or Republicans that were sitting in the middle, wavering, fence sitters, people that are known to vote either way, one or two issues sway them in a certain direction based on the wind, which way the wind's blowing. People don't realize there are millions of those voters. There absolutely is. And why would they care about this? Because the president's compromised. That's why. He's compromised. I mean, do you notice how much we're doing for the Ukraine? Yeah, I mean, go watch Who is Hunter Biden on Fox Nation. How much we're doing for the Ukraine, China, etc., etc. You can't run that risk. That's what was so surprising. When that story dropped, I thought, why did Joe Biden even bother running, knowing this was out there in the background? Like this wasn't going to eventually come out. It's crazy. It's absolutely nuts. I do. I know that recently Bill Maher and Steven Crowder got in a bit of a thing. That's fine. I love Steven Crowder, by the way. And I like Bill Maher. I can do both. That it is what it is. Look, anything Bill Maher says isn't going to sway me from voting against Trump, all right? But he can still make me laugh. And lately, he's right about a whole lot more than he's wrong about, it seems like. Like I said, the socialist progressive Democrats, they hate him now. They hate him. It's every Saturday morning, it's a war zone. The woke mob is canceling Bill Maher. Hateful old white man. That's a thing now with Bill Maher. Yeah. Peace. I'm out. Till next time.